To always get the latest Game Tea, do not forget to follow us on social media. You can find us on Facebook at The Game Tea Podcast, and you can find us on Twitter at Game Tea Podcast X. We post memes, gaming news, retweet friends of the pod, and of course let you know when new episodes are available for your listening pleasure. Links are all available in the description of this episode, so check them out after the show, and thank you so much for listening to the Game Tea Podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Game Tea Podcast. My name is JP.
I'm Peaches.
And I'm Czar.
So today's episode, we're doing another Answering Biggest Questions, PC Gamer Edition. Now, Peaches, I don't know if you remember, but the catalyst for this episode was a passing conversation you and I had on a different episode. You remember what that was?
Yeah, you were saying that it's cheaper to game on console than it is on PC.
And what was your reaction to that?
I think you're full of shit.
I disagree strongly.
Something like that.
Yeah. A combination of both me and Czar's answers right there.
And so that's kind of what the catalyst for today's episode was. We wanted to discuss on some things about being a PC gamer versus being a console gamer. Now, it's important to note, this is not a great debate. We're not arguing. There's no time limits. We're just having a nice, civil, wonderful discussion with our friends.
I was just going to suggest maybe we should put a time limit down because this is going to get heated AF.
I didn't really prepare like any arguments or documents or anything to get us ready. So if this was a debate, if this was a debate, I would absolutely have a lot more preparation done. But since we're just answering gaming's biggest questions, nothing.
Okay, but you know what? Czar actually does raise a good point. So I'll tell you what. We will limit the conversation on each one of these topics to 15 minutes. How does that sound? Is that fair?
That sounds fair.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, we might end up taking less time than that because there's a very good chance we're going to end up agreeing to disagree.
Dude, these always go down weird rabbit holes. You don't understand. So we've got 3 questions we're asking today. 1, is it cheaper to game on console than on PC? 2, is it time for games to increase in price from $60? And 3, should all multiplayer games be crossplay, including those on PC? We're going to get started with question number 1. Is it cheaper to game on PC or console? Now, like we said, no debate, but Peaches, I do want you to have the first word, so go for it.
All right. And I mean, JP kind of has said this before. Like, it is essentially, it's long run versus short run. All right. If you're gaming on console, you're just looking for, I'm going to pay this money up front. It's slightly lower than what the PC is. And, I'll be able to just plug it in and play it and we're ready to go. Whereas like if you decide to game on PC, you're going to have a higher upfront cost for sure. But the longevity of that PC is going to outlast what you're going to get from a console. And I mean, it's just, if you can afford that upfront price, you're going to get more use out of it. You're going to get more bang for your buck.
Ooh, Peaches actually makes a good point. I think I might have to agree that it is cheaper to game on a PC because, yeah, he's right. It's a monumentous mountain of a cost up front. But when I'm thinking about how many Xboxes I have owned versus how long I'm going to make sure that my PC lives for. I think I have bought double the cost of my PC in Xboxes just to game all these years. And yeah, I get so many games for $5. I'll only buy a game if it's $5. But how many Xboxes do you got to go through to hit those $5 prices?
All right. So here is where I disagree. In my life, I've built about 5 PCs. So and not only have I built the PCs, I designed them too. So, I picked each individual part to put together something depending on who wanted it, how much money they had. But let's say somebody came up to me and they were like, JP, I just want to put together some type of gaming PC that can do the absolute bare minimum. to get me into PC gaming. Do you think you could do that for me? I would say yes. And you know what I would probably ask them for? $500 to $600. I know that there's a lot of PC builders out there who claim you could build something cheaper than that for that. No, you cannot. $500 to $600 is the cheapest I would be willing to go for a decent graphics card, for a decent CPU, going AMD over Intel, no question, and at least 16 gigabytes of RAM, because every professional will agree that that is the bare minimum that you should have for gaming. That's not including a motherboard, that's not including a case, that's not including a power supply unit, or any of the extra stuff you may or may not want to do. That certainly doesn't include a hard drive. I could do all of that for a bare minimum of $500 to $600.
I feel like if you're going a bare minimum of 16 gigs of RAM, that's not a bare minimum. I think the bare minimum is 8. I think 16 gigs is extra, and like my 16 gigs is well extra of what I need. Like 8 gigs of RAM will do you fine, but that's a small point. You can continue.
Dude, I'm sorry, but I have to strongly disagree with that. With all that you would be putting in your random access memory for like the different like files needed to run, and it also depends on the kind of game. Like, do you think you would be able to run Cyberpunk on 8 gigabytes of RAM?
No, have fun with Minecraft.
And you're saying you're building a bare minimum PC, so your chances are you're not trying to run Cyberpunk super well.
But
on a bare minimum PC, you're trying to run like your Minecrafts, your League of Legends, your WoWs.
But shit, it'll play Roblox like a motherfucker.
Like, you're making a bare minimum PC. You're not trying to get these top of the line games on there. You're trying to make a PC that's going to game right away for a low cost.
Right, but that's my point, is that's for bare minimum. What if you did want to play Cyberpunk? Or, you know what, Cyberpunk's top of the barrel. Let's say you wanted to play Doom Eternal. Well, the first thing I would suggest is upping your graphics card game, which would probably put another $100 to $200 depending on what you wanted on that price tag just to run that. You might need more than the bare minimum on CPU. CPUs are getting pretty good with value, especially with AMD. If you really wanted the full experience, at that point, I would definitely say you needed 16 gigabytes of RAM.
But the wonderful thing about PCs is you could still do that very low-end PC and run Doom Eternal. You just have to run it at uglier graphics and like lower frame rate resolutions.
But then what's the point?
But you can still
what do you mean? What do you mean what's the point? The point is gaming. The game doesn't have to look good. If I'm drawn to a game, I'm not necessarily drawn to it because of how good it looks. I'm drawn to it because I like the gameplay. I like the story. I'm not drawn to it because it's got the like sparkliest graphics. No, like if that was true, why would anyone play Undertale? Why would anyone play Minecraft?
There's a lot of wiggle room in the processing power with PCs.
And
so
you
can run indie games to AAA titles. Plus, with more accessibility to those indie titles through a PC, but with the consoles, you got that one setting, and so you're fixed into what games are shoveled onto your plate.
If you don't care about how the game looks, though, then why would you get a PC when you could spend less money getting a gaming console that would run the game at those higher graphics?
Versatility, longevity.
You still can't play Cyberpunk on console, though.
Okay, I'll give you that. You wouldn't be able to do that on console, but you can be damn sure that Doom Eternal on that new PlayStation 5 solid state drive or the Xbox Series X is going to look way better because you have a well-integrated console than a gaming PC.
Also, I think it would be fair to note that at this point in time, the average price of a PlayStation 5 is about $1,000 because of accessibility.
No, you cannot do that. You cannot include
You
Scalper.
can, though, because where else can you find PlayStations other than Scalper?
You wait until it becomes available in the store where it's $500. You can't throw Scalper
But they're
prices
not right
at
now.
me. Yes, they are. If you can get on the website quick enough.
I mean, people like to throw scalper prices for these graphics cards at me all the time. Why can't you do it for consoles?
Who's doing that? Who's throwing scalper prices for GPUs at you?
Potato in my ass.
Well,
wait, hold on. What?
Literally everybody that likes to shit on, like, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of elitism in PC gamers, like, for sure. There's a lot of elitism. But like anytime people are trying to shit on PC gaming, it's like, oh wow, yeah, it's so impressive that your $3,000 computer with your $1,500 graphics card is able to run stuff really well. I'm so impressed. It's like the people are always talking about how expensive like these new Nvidia graphic, like this 3080s and 3090s. They're always throwing these scalper prices at me when they're talking about how expensive it is to PC game, and that's just not realistic for most PC gamers.
Dude, I don't know what to tell you about that. I don't know who you're talking to about I know what I can tell you.
This is just internet forums. Like this it's constantly going on.
Here's what I will tell you. The 3070 that Nvidia just dropped is $500, and that's one of the top of the line graphics card. But that's just the thing. You don't need top of the line graphics. I know that I just gave you the bare minimum, but when you go for bare minimum, you sacrifice the longevity that you say is the advantage to PC gaming.
No, you don't, because it's so easy to upgrade a PC if you so choose.
What graphics card do you think I would put in a machine that's about $500 or less?
I would say probably one of the like AMD like R9 290.
One of the Radeon cards?
I think so. I think those are the cheaper ones.
That's not the case anymore. You could definitely get one of the older Radeons for a little bit cheaper, but AMD, if there's one thing that they've proven with their CPUs and now their GPUs, it's that they're up to speed with Intel and that they're up to speed with Nvidia. Those cards are not going to stay cheap anymore. And in fact, might in some cases be more expensive than Nvidia.
Should we factor in the cost of an operating system and like virus security?
I forgot the operating system, which, okay, to be fair,
you don't need virus security. Windows Defender will take care of you.
What if I want to emulate the shit out of games on bad websites?
I miss Flash Player.
I want to play Pokemon where all the Pokemon are very seductive and risque.
Okay. If I were putting together a gaming PC, I would allocate most of that money to a GPU, at which case the most I'd be comfortable going with might be like a 1660 Ti or maybe a 2060 Super, since those aren't going for a lot of money right now either. Even then though, like, that's just not feasible, and the longevity won't be there, because if you go with a lower card, it's going to go out of style quicker. If you really wanted to future-proof your PC, bare minimum, I would say, is $800. Bare
Yeah, but
minimum.
It's not like you can replace those kinds of components for cheaper prices in your console. Like, you can't upgrade your graphics card down the road if you so choose to in a console.
And also, how many, like, I have had my current PC, I spent $1,300 on my PC. That's for everything. That's operating system. That's monitors. That's, that's the keyboard, mouse, everything. That's $1,300. This PC has lasted me since the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. And now we're moving on to the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series S. Not to mention, if you're going to throw in operating system, I'm going to throw in how much you're paying to play online in these games. If you're like, what was it? Xbox One came out 2013-ish. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, I'd say so.
All right. You're paying $60 a year for 8 years to play online on Xbox. Quick math, that's about $480.
And you spend about $1,600 to $1,700 if you get the Xbox 360, the Xbox One, and the Xbox Series X on launch. And so, yeah, you're already almost to $2,000 for 3 consoles where he only...
If I'm not including, like, Xbox 360, we're still at about $1,000 just for the consoles.
Okay, but like if I were going bare minimum with the PC though, like that, if for all your peripherals included, that's got to be a
$1,300 for all of my stuff.
How much was just the PC?
I want to say my PC was like $800.
Where'd you get it?
Newegg. It was pre-built.
Okay, a pre-built by who?
CyberPower.
Oh, CyberPower, the company most notorious for cutting corners.
I mean, I have zero problems with my PC right now. I have had to do nothing for 8 years gaming on this bad boy.
And probably not much ability to upgrade or like, you can replace components, sure. Wait a minute, didn't you replace a graphics card?
No, my graphics card is the same shit.
8 years later?
But even then, the expandability on those motherboards just usually aren't that great. Okay, so you spent $1,000 on a machine that is telling me is gonna last you for like 12 to 13 years of doing pretty average to maybe upper gameplay. Okay. But
average? What do you mean average? I'm running everything on high.
I said average to upper. Because you are not about to tell me that Cyberpunk is running as well as it possibly could be with your CPU.
It's not running on that ray tracing shit and all that, but it was running it on high.
That's what I'm saying. It's like mid to upper, where like Cyberpunk is the absolute high bar right now because of the crazy amount of stuff it makes your GPU do. I have a 2070 Super in my machine, and like even that wasn't... It started to get up to its limit from that game. But let's say you wanted to play the latest and greatest. I mean, Cyberpunk is nothing more than an outlier in this case, right? Because what you're going to have through the 8-year like lifespan of your console is going to be games that were integrated for those graphics and look as good as they could. That's part of the value of being a console gamer.
It's almost always going to look worse on console than it is on PC. Like, that's just how it is. If a game is released for both console and PC, it's gonna look better on PC. That's always how it works.
And to answer your questions my Wii lasted 11 years and it's still going strong.
Okay, Nintendo products cannot be considered because holy shit, those things will last for 1,000 years.
But I also have had 3 Xboxes and I've had 2 PlayStation 4s. One of them, the PlayStation 4s, was not broken. I just wanted the upgrade. And you don't have to get the upgrade.
But you don't have to upgrade your PC either.
That's what I'm saying about PC also.
Yeah, but the difference is with a console, the games are integrated for the console to make them work the way that they're supposed to. You're gonna see like better decay over time on a gaming PC. That's just what happens with the hardware. And furthermore, we still haven't even talked yet about the peripherals that you have to buy. I will make the argument that you more than likely already have a television in your home by the time you buy a console, so you should not include that cost. However, I would be willing to also say that you're gonna have to buy several peripherals when you buy a gaming PC. A monitor, a keyboard, a mouse, maybe a headset, maybe a mic. That adds up to like another $400.
In what world? You can go budget with all of those things.
Yeah, but look at all the dongles for the PlayStation.
What do you need for a PlayStation? What do you need for a PlayStation?
The PlayStation had so many more dongles. Like, you got the VR.
You don't need a VR.
Yeah, but it's an accessory.
You don't even technically need a headset. You could buy a cheap set of speakers if you fucking wanted to.
Fair enough, but you would still need a monitor. Which usually runs a 50 to 200.
You're saying you already have a TV. Chances are you already have a monitor because pretty much every home in America already has a PC and a monitor in it because you can't live without the internet right now.
I didn't have a monitor before I bought my PC. What am I going to do with a monitor with no PC?
Yeah, but most TVs made between like 2007 to 2015 could dual as a monitor. Like, they had the PC hookups in the back.
Yeah, every TV can hook up to a PC.
Anybody who does anything with computers will tell you that hooking a PC up to a television just does not usually work as well with an integrated monitor, especially since AMD is using FreeSync in their computers now, which most monitors account for now.
I think we're being arbitrary here, though, because like we're trying to go bare minimum, but like we don't need all these dongles, and like the TV versus monitor, I think that really is moot. Because you could theoretically get away with both if you're trying to cut costs.
But if you're that's my point. If you're trying to cut costs, why would you not just go with a gaming console?
Because I don't want to pay $1,000 for a scalper's PlayStation.
Oh, you cannot include the scalper price. Just wait 6 months and you'll get it for $500.
My argument always was, you're getting more longevity out of a PC than you are a console. That's just how it is.
That's what it has to come down to, is how many Xboxes have I owned versus how many PCs have I owned, and which lives longer. Because I can't buy new games for that Xbox 360, and soon I'm not even going to be able to buy games for my Xbox One. And so that forces me to upgrade. With a PC, you're not forced into upgrades. Like Peaches said, he's been gaming on the same setup for 8 years and hasn't upgraded.
Okay, so the Xbox One X came out, 2013 next to the PlayStation 4. So It's pretty standard practice for gaming consoles, whether that be Microsoft or Sony, to not actually end support for that console once the new one comes out for about 2 years, which means that you have had that console with games that it can play for up to 9 years. And you got it for less money than you did a gaming PC. I guarantee you buying a PC at the bare minimum specs. The reason why I'm doing bare minimum, by the way, is to make it comparable to a gaming console, is because the longevity I would estimate of that is probably going to be about 5 years, maybe 4, depending on what it is that you put in that thing.
In that span, there's still an extra generation. Like, I still spent like nearly double on 3 generations of Xbox in the time that Peaches has still been gaming on the same PC.
And again, not to mention you're paying for online already with these consoles. Like you're arguing all this cost that comes with PC. I'm saying you spend the upfront big cost, you get longevity out of it.
That's the difference between them, is there's an initial cost and then there's cost over time. So this is really hard to say with one way or the other.
I understand that, but like what I'm trying to argue is that you guys are vastly underestimating that upfront cost, especially when you take into consideration the value that you're getting. Where do you think you are going to be able to find any piece of technology with a solid state drive in it for $500 or less right now? You're certainly not putting that in the $500 gaming PC, I'll tell you that right now.
Wish.com.
No! If you bought that off of Wish.com, it'd be like a pigeon taped to like a hard disk drive or something.
Man, this is the best game ever. Oh no, it flew away.
I know you don't need it, but if you're willing to compromise in those regards where performance is what matters, you get more performance value per dollar in a console.
Performance? What do you mean performance? SSDs have so little to do with performance. It's just load times.
No. You better stop right there. We're not just talking.
Back on track, boys. We're about at that 15-minute mark.
I'll make one last statement. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. It has been tried and true that especially NVMe .2 solid state drives boast insane amounts of gaming performance compared to hard disk drives. That is just a blatantly wrong statement.
I have both a solid state drive and a hard drive. There is no difference when I am gaming, like on a game that's installed on the solid state versus a game that's installed on the hard drive. Makes no difference to me. It's not even the point. I don't understand how this is even like a discussion. You're not getting longevity out of your PlayStations. You are getting longevity out of a PC. It doesn't matter if you upgrade or not. You're eventually going to have to upgrade that console to the next one. You're not going to have to upgrade your PC to the next one if you pay the upfront cost. If you're just trying to game in the short run, yeah, absolutely buy a console. But if you're looking for something that's going to last you a while, I don't see how you could go any other direction than PC.
I disagree. And I think we're out of time.
I wish we had a t-shirt where you guys are just like cartoonily butting heads, because like that's just what unfolded right here.
Me and JP are the person yelling at the cat meme right now. Just going back and forth.
No, I like the one better where like we're yelling at each other. Have you seen that cat that's like holding on to both of the people, like yelling, like, guys, get along?
And then there's Czar over here, live, not a cat.
I'm not a cat. Like, you immediately went on to Peach's side with that, so I felt like I was battling both of you there. Like, I could tell that you were trying to take a more nuanced approach, but still mostly agreed with the things that Peaches had to say.
I started getting pissed off because I realized during the middle of that just how many Xboxes I have bought over the course of my gaming.
Dude, I went through 3 Xbox 360s.
Shit, the 360, that thing was notorious for breaking every other week.
Dude, I had 5 PS2s. Those things, and I mean, I said on a previous episode that my Xbox 360s, you know, I think it red ringed a few times, so... Granted, I didn't have to pay for the replacement, so...
Meanwhile, I've only owned one N64, and it still games to pristine beauty to this day.
And yet, here we are sending in our Joy-Cons.
There was about a decade where my N64 didn't work. Turns out there was a pebble lodged in the Switch to turn it on. Once I popped the Pebble out, worked like a beauty.
Oh, Jesus. All right, both of you, good points.
You were all right.
Oh, dude, whatever.
I see where you're coming from, but I will not change my stance.
I'm not asking you to change your stance. I'm just saying there's a lot more going on here.
Well, I'm really excited to hear everyone's take on this next question. So,
Czar, you lead us off.
Yeah, do you think it's time for games to increase in price from $60? Me, personally, I freaking hope not, because I remember back in my day, games used to be $50.
Oh, Jesus.
And then they went up to $60, and I was really pissed off. Unfortunately, as much as I hope that games won't increase in price, we're about to see like a $15 price hike on minimum wage. That's going to cause inflation to go up all across the board, and with how much goes into games now, like, I think we're going to see an increase to like $70 per game. It's just the tide of the times.
See, and here's the thing. I actually don't think the $15 minimum wage is what's going to increase the price of games, because PS5 has already been getting pretty cheeky with these $70 games, you know?
Oh, yeah, they didn't hide that. They didn't hide that at all.
But here's the thing, though. Games have been $60 since, like, the Xbox 360 launch, right? Like,
well, didn't it boost up from that point to 49 to 59?
No, I think because, like, N64 games were like $40. I don't know how much PS1 games were. And then, like, the Xbox and PlayStation 2, those games started out at $50, $49.99. But towards the end of their life, like, I remember getting Peter Jackson's King Kong for the Xbox original in that gap, because the game was available for the Xbox original and the 360. It was $60 for both consoles at the time.
I just think that we have enjoyed $60 games a long time. Like, it feels like it's been forever that we've been buying $60 games, and
it's true.
I'm willing to pay an extra like $10 for like AAA titles, especially if it means that developers are, you know, not having to crunch like a million years every fucking game release.
Oh yeah, I'd 100% agree with that.
And I think I would be more okay with like a $10 price hike to make it $70 if there was less paid downloadable content.
Yes,
available.
Absolutely.
Like, they stopped making so much downloadable content to turn a $60 game into like $140.
Okay, I'm gonna make an interesting assertion here. So, I don't know if you guys have noticed this trend of Xbox and PlayStation putting only out digital-only editions of their consoles. Physical copies of games have one foot out the door already, and we're about to go strictly digital. Now, part of that $60 price tag, as well as every other price tag in the past, has been for manufacturing costs. And the reason why they kept those aligned with the costs of, like, buying it virtually is because then nobody would spend the extra money to go get the disc-only version of a game. I propose we need to keep it at $60 because we're about to stop seeing the manufacturing of physical games, making it all completely digital.
No, that's bullshit. Manufacturing would not hike up that price so much because it takes like 50 cents to print a game disc and like an additional 50 cents to make the plastic covering. And they don't even put big guidebooks in the beginning of the game anymore anyway. Like that little player manual is 2 pages. So the manufacturing cost, they're only spending like $1.50.
So I guess I don't understand then, where do you think that justification and value is with 10 extra dollars?
It's inflation, you know? Like, they're gonna have to spend a lot more money and a lot more resources within the company on developers, on assets, on servers, and much like the price of milk goes up, everything goes up. It's all just inter-influenced. It's not like they arbitrarily decided one day that, well, we got the next console generation out, let's charge an additional $10 per game now.
I think it's just we've had $60 games for a while, and like the inflation, I think would necessitate a $70 price hike, and the fact that we're already seeing it kind of is, I think, indicating that AAA games are about to stop being $60. Though I think that we're still going to be seeing lots of indie games for cheaper than that. So I don't think it's necessarily the biggest of deals, but it is kind of sad to see. I'm going to have to get a little extra coin to buy these new games.
Yeah, but let's see less DLC then. More content included in this.
That's where you're lost, is that no, absolutely not. You're not going to see more DLC in these games if you're paying that extra price tag.
I think you will. I don't think we're going to see a lack of DLC.
Dude, I mean, come to think of it, it's amazing that games are as cheap as they are now. If you really think about it, with the development costs and the amount that's going into these games nowadays, I mean, I don't know. If you really honestly think about it, have you ever finished a game, let's say, I don't know, God of War, or I don't know, some Xbox exclusive, I'm sure there's plenty of them, and you look at
There are now.
I'm sorry. And you look at the list of people involved with the game, and you're like, holy shit, that is a lot of people. Sound engineers, video engineers, producers, animators, the janitor. I don't fucking know.
The janitor even made it into the credits.
Honest to God, though.
The developer pets make it into the credits.
Dude, yeah. They get $1 of your... They get...
God damn it, Fluffy.
Then there's also QA testers, there's the language people who help translate this game to other languages, or do voice lines in other languages. There's especially AAA titles, chances are you're making that game in at least 7 languages.
Yeah, okay, but the mirror image of this is film cinema. How much, Spider-Man Homecoming, when that dropped on physical copy, how much was that? $20, $30 for a DVD?
Who's buying DVDs?
Wait, which Spider-Man are you talking? Are you talking Tobey Maguire? Are you talking?
I'm talking Homecoming.
Tom Holland.
Homecoming, Into the Spider-Verse, whatever.
So yeah, Tom Holland.
Yeah, whatever the new Spider-Mans were. Whenever they were released, onto physical copy, most people don't get physical copy, but it's still gonna be that $20 to $30 to either download it or buy a DVD of it. Same amount of people were working on this project, and possibly even millions upon millions of more dollars go into making the movie, and you're still paying a fraction of the cost that you would for a video game.
The reason why I don't think that's a fair comparison is because you can expect a lot more people to go see your movie than you can expect people to go buy your game. Unless it's a huge, outrageously good game.
Right. Well, here's the thing, especially because movies kind of have they get to have 2 lives, essentially. They get their life in the movie theater, or Avengers just made $1 billion box office, but what was it, 2 billion?
I don't even know, an ungodly amount of money.
But yeah, it made 2 billion box office, and that's not going to happen for every movie, obviously. But they get that box office money, and then they also get DVD money. They get money from these streaming platforms that they put their stuff on. There's all sorts of different avenues.
Yeah, but Xbox has that exact same thing with Game Pass. It's a subscription base where you get those random games every now and then that are blockbuster. You'd have to go see this in theater.
I don't think it necessarily equates the same way, just because I don't know, you see a movie at the movie theater. That's one thing, and then you get to take it home on the DVD. That's another. You sell a game essentially one time, right? Chances are you're not selling the game multiple times, whereas with a movie...
May I introduce you to Nintendo? Because I have bought many of their games multiple times.
Okay, I own 4 copies of every Borderlands game for a different console.
That's your fault. That is 100% your fault.
No, JP, it's your fault because you should have got in on that.
I don't know how many more
Get
times
it for
I
the
have
Switch.
to explain. No! You buy it for... Wait a minute. Why don't we just play it on Xbox?
Why don't we just play it on... Because Zach doesn't have an Xbox.
Why don't you just play it on PC?
Oh yeah, why don't we play it on PC?
Because I don't own it for PC yet.
You just said you own it for everything.
Yeah, from 360 to Xbox One and Switch.
Oh my god, you bought it for the Switch before you bought it for PC?
Yeah. Zach wanted to play, and it was on sale.
Did he play?
Yeah, we played like 3 times.
Okay. Okay.
But anyways, back to the point. I think that, movies have more avenues to make money multiple times, whereas games, it's like chances are you're buying the game one time and like that's that. And I think the streaming things are more lucrative for movies and television than they are for games.
And then going back to games, you also have to take into account that like so much more is going into making these games now, like you can see things like that, like I don't know, take Spider-Man Miles Morales, for example. A lot of the things that they're adding when they boost that price up $10 is going to be the way the game looks, the way the game plays, and most of all, making sure that it integrates well with the new technology of these consoles. For example, ray tracing. Ray tracing is not cheap to implement, but, that's something that they can do, and they know if they do it, that's something they can advertise and make more money off the game. But in order to do that, they have to spend more money in the short term, which means, $70 price tags.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think, really, if you want people to not be upset about the $70 price hike, stop these fucking microtransactions day one. No more day one DLCs. No more fucking bullshit cosmetic, like, microtransactions.
Pay to play.
Especially not day one.
I mean, let's be honest, they're not going to stop, but they
absolutely
should.
not. But if you want people to not be mad about it, that's a good way.
No, I'm okay with an increase in $10 if it means the peace of mind for these game developers. Like, that's who the extra profits should go to, because those are the real heroes, not the CEOs who are like, yeah, we produced this game and made a mint off of it.
And then going on saying, we're sorry.
We're sorry. No, it's the people suffering. I would gladly pay an extra $10 to ease the suffering of game developers and that they not get death threats, for God's sakes. Like, are you kidding me?
And I'm already kind of over it. Like, I know that's how they get you, is with these $10 intervals, and you're just going, what's $10 more? And them doing that, multiple times. I understand, but I think you do get more value for that money. And I know at the beginning of this, I was trying to justify why you should keep it at 60. But after thinking about it, it's amazing that it stayed at 60 for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come to think of it.
I don't think any of us want the price to increase from $60, but I think all of us realize that it's just not realistic for it to stay at $60.
Not to mention, half of those games go on sale after 3 months. So...
That's true, too. I'm still going to be picking up those $5 games.
Oh, yeah, you can bet on that.
In the case of Nintendo, those games ain't never going on sale. Those games are forever 70.
I thought about that with Super Mario 3D World. I was like, dude, I mean, you could wait for a sale, but at best, you'd be able to pick it up for $50.
Hey, Breath of the Wild is on sale right now. You should pick it up. $49.99. What the fuck?
It's $10 is $10.
Yeah, I think it's really funny how we were just discussing the $10 from 60 to 70, but it's still absolutely obscene for me to pay $50 for a reduced price
like,
Switch game.
What are you talking about? You won't spend more than $10.
Hey, you can get a lot of free games on Epic Game Store, actually.
Oh, dude, yes, I've got it downloaded. They always send me free shit.
It's super nice. I got Into the Breach for free, which is the same people who made FTL.
Actually, it's an interesting thing to talk about, is like how quickly games go on sale now. There's almost like an early pay to play tax in that regard, right? Because like unless it's an absolutely phenomenal game, and even when it's an absolute phenomenal game, it can go down in price pretty quickly. You can get Control for free right now on the PlayStation Store.
The super high quality game, Anthem. I saw that game on sale for $5 2 weeks after it came out.
Checkmate, liberals.
I picked it up for $5 on Black Friday. I still haven't touched it. And now they're going to shut down the online servers, so you can't even play the game anymore.
Oh,
Yeah, they just EA decided that it might not be worth it to try to fix the game because nobody's going to be coming back to play the game.
I was going to say, that's like me complaining that the Evolve servers are gone. It's like, yeah, no shit.
I'm pissed about that.
Evolve was fun. I did like
It
Evolve.
was.
But nobody else thought so.
That's what you get for making a multiplayer-only game. People are going to move on to a different multiplayer game, and then you have no game.
All right, guys, I think we're in agreement on this topic, and we're about with our time. Should we head on to the last question?
Yeah, this last one should be pretty quick.
All right, so you two introduced the other two topics. I want to introduce this one. So let's take a little looky look. Should all multiplayer games be crossplay? Not all of them. Let's fight.
Yeah, this is pretty simple. Shooters, no. We PC gamers are just built different, all right?
Oh, shut up.
Cut from a different cloth.
There's certain games where PC, like playing on a keyboard and mouse, gives you a huge advantage, and I think shooters are one of those games. I think if you're going to cross-platform, I would avoid shooters going to PC, but like cross-platform with other consoles.
That's true. You'll never kill a PC player in COD on a console.
See, my mindset was more like, make it more about like who's making the game, if that makes sense. Like, don't leave cross-platform to the consoles and the PC itself, but rather the developer of the studio. You know, so like, let's say Call of Duty, let's say Infinity Ward makes the latest Call of Duty. They should be the ones who are like monitoring like cross-play servers. You know, I don't even think it's a debate of like, should it be a PC or like a PlayStation thing. I think it should be up to the people who make the game.
I think the big thing with crossplay is I think it's really cool that it can make your player base bigger, and it can help the lifespan of a game itself. Like Rocket League, actually. Funny enough, Rocket League is crossplay. I played Rocket League. It's like Zach was on Nintendo, I was on PC, and I think that plays great with crossplay.
That was one of like the first games ever too.
I think, yeah, maybe I can't remember, but it. You know, everybody can use a controller, or there's some freaks that somehow can use a keyboard and mouse to play Rocket League really well.
And some people can even use a Guitar Hero guitar.
Hell, I saw one person use Dance Dance Revolution, Matt.
Yeah. Like, people are really good, and like, you know, there's no inherent advantage from like one thing to the next in a game like that. And I think it really benefits from something like crossplay, where you know you increase the player base of your game is big, people are going to keep playing.
I bet that could have kept Evolve alive.
We're not talking about Evolve anymore.
I think Evolve was beyond saving. I'm sorry, buddy.
Yeah.
It was fun for a couple months.
Yeah.
Some things just flavor of the month, you know, like Among Us I think was cross-platform in the sense that I could play it. Did it come out for console? I played it with people on their phones while I was on PC.
Yeah, it's on literally everything.
No, I don't think it's on PlayStation.
No, it's on Xbox.
Is it?
Yeah, it's on Xbox.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look into that later. Whatever.
But yeah, you know, there's a lot of games that could benefit from cross-platform. Just like some ultra-competitive stuff like a shooter, I don't think necessarily would be a good idea.
Okay, now here's the problem with that is, do you ever think if you start bringing the word competition into the debate, Nintendo's gonna play nicely with anybody ever again?
That's also fair.
Nintendo's pretty buddy-buddy with Microsoft as it is.
Yeah, but they can't make an online to save their life.
Oh,
like,
they
try
can't.
playing
They
Smash
can't.
online.
They really can't. It's awful. Nintendo just can't figure it out.
They're trying so hard, though.
I know they are.
I want to tweak the question a little bit, because it sounds like we're kind of in agreement and there's not a lot of room to talk. What about competitive esports? Should there be an integration of console and PC gamers for games like FIFA or like Madden tournaments, where you could play on keyboard and mouse or console and there is no immediate benefit that you could notice? Like, there's no hair triggering like in COD for keyboard and mouse, because theoretically you put everybody in the same room. Some people have a preference of using keyboard and mouse, some people have a preference of using like a gamepad. Do you think you could still get away with doing esports like that?
I think that sports games have a huge advantage on controller. I'm just the directional control you have on a controller is like it's better for sports games.
That's fair. Try to aim a bow and arrow in Legend of Zelda on PC. You can't do it.
Jesus Christ, I wouldn't dare.
You can't do it.
For me, it's not even that one has an advantage. It's just that, like, if you're talking about esports, and by the way, I don't give two shits about esports. I really don't. But if you are into esports, then wouldn't you want the most even playing field, you know, as far as like peripherals go before you actually get into skill?
I think you just want the best of the best, like, no matter what.
I think just to make it fair, you should do it consistently in those regards.
That's true, but I guess I'm trying to ask more of an all-inclusive thing.
So, like, for an esport like Rocket League, Rocket League is just really useful for this question. There are people who play on keyboard and mouse, and there are people who play on controller. I mean, most people play on controller, but there are keyboard and mouse esport like Rocket League players, and it, you know, for a game like that, you know, there's no real competitive edge. It's just whatever you're best on, and if you're at the top of your game on like a certain like style of playing, like keyboard versus mouse or keyboard and mouse versus controller, then it's fine. But when you start getting into places where advantages go to a controller and like the best controller player is far and above better than the best like keyboard and mouse player or vice versa, I think that's where it starts to be a problem.
I mean, that was definitely an interesting question, Czar. It's just, haven't thought about it too much, but like where it's hard is when you start talking about like competitive edge, because I don't like competitive games that much. I like my walking simulators, my Stardew Valleys, my Minecrafts. And even when I do play things that are more action-based, I hardly ever play with other people. I am obsessed with Hades right now. If it were multiplayer, I would never play with anybody. They would just slow me down.
That's honestly true. Like, I'll play Dead Rising 2, which has an online co-op, or I'll play Warhammer Vermintide 2. I will never leave my server open to the public. Ever.
Right, but they're just playing with friends, and it's not necessarily competitive on Vermintide, you know?
Well, I mean, Vermintide isn't competitive because it's completely co-op.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Left 4 Dead. I wouldn't necessarily put Vermintide or Left 4 Dead in like a category of competitive, where that's like one of the things where I'm like, yeah, I'm sure I'm fine with crossplay.
Oh, and that's why I brought up Dead Rising 2 as well, because that's completely co-op.
Yeah, I think things like that, it's totally fine to integrate crossplay. I think specifically when there's competitive edge for one thing or another, that's when you're going to have a problem integrating crossplay.
And a rankings board.
Oh, dude, I value my League of Legends rank more than anything else that I
well,
own.
Yeah, but I mean, you have to have separate rankings. For,
I'm not
like,
even high ranked in
these
League of
people
Legends.
play on console, these people play on PC. So for the example of Rocket League again, you know, like you could have those ranking boards, but they should be console or like platform specific.
Actually, I don't even know about that for Rocket League. Like, it's because the ranking system is just like, you know, you got your top of the line people who are Supersonic Legend, you got your Grand Champ, you got your Champ, Diamond, Plat. It doesn't matter. But I think for a game like that, it's just the ranking board doesn't need to be separated, because you're probably going to be fairly ranked because there's no competitive edge depending on what you're playing on.
Okay, that's fair. What about a game like PUBG or Fortnite? Because isn't Fortnite already cross-platform?
You know what? I'm actually glad you mentioned that, because I really hate cross-platform for Fortnite. You know why? Because
it's Fortnite?
Yeah, one, because it's Fortnite. I did used to play Fortnite. Okay, fucking kill me.
Boo!
Boo,
Boo on you!
The one time I played Fortnite, all I did was like I dismantled an entire building, and then somebody came and shot me, and I was like, "This game sucks."
This game sucks. I'm done. I'm going back to PUBG.
Anyways, JP, what were you saying? You played Fortnite?
Oh,
crossplay.
Anyway, yeah, crossplay Fortnite. Anybody can access that, and it's very clear who's playing on what. Because if I shoot at someone and they immediately build a skyscraper in 3 seconds, PC player. If I shoot at somebody and they look around for at least 10 seconds trying to figure out who shot them, little kid on Nintendo Switch. And if I I shoot at them and they bend over for me, well, that's an Xbox player.
Fuck you, man.
What about the people who are playing games on their phone? I mean, like, what if I shoot at somebody and then they disconnect? That's a person playing on their phone.
They were never there to begin with.
No, Xbox people will drop their gun and start to
assume the position.
and then PlayStation people are the kind that get killed and then send you a message about how you're a hacker.
Hacks, bro. I'm gonna report your bitch ass.
But yeah, like for something like PUBG, I think, crossplay probably is really iffy. So the PUBG has I think a ranked and unranked mode now. And if you're playing in the ranked mode, probably shouldn't be crossplay. If you're playing in the unranked mode and you're just trying to play with your buddies on a separate console, I think it's fine.
I have just about time.
All right, I think we kind of settled that one.
Maybe we should have ended with the PC one?
No, I think it's best that we get the heated debate out first and then kind of cool it down with a couple questions down the line.
Yeah, because that was pretty heated to start with.
That was heated. Strangle peaches through my monitor.
Throw some hands.
What if I told you I was into it?
I wouldn't be surprised. I've seen your likes on Twitter.
I always wonder what my likes end up showing, because I like a lot of stuff from all over the place on Twitter. I wonder what ends up showing on people's timeline.
I don't know. Everybody go follow Ches on Twitter.
You'll see all sorts of stuff.
He's all the horny on his main.
Oh God, who are you, Ted Cruz?
Oh, dude, I don't get horny on main. Come on, that's for my side account.
Did you guys hear that story about going to a Ted Cruz? It was his campaign website, and they went to his likes, and he liked a porn account.
Yeah, and then they tried to play it off as a staffer did it or something. A classic Teddy.
That's a classic Ted move. The man, the myth, the legend. All right, guys. I think we've settled the debate. All right.
Not a debate.
No. Oh, yep. Nope. Yep. Sorry. Not a debate.
We've answered the question definitively, and there can be no other options.
Even though this wasn't a debate, and this is usually a debate thing that I do, you both did a very good job.
You were good too, I guess.
We gotta remember one thing. We're here together, damn it. And we are gamers. And we made this podcast because we love games.
Yeah.
And because we're very opinionated people about those games.
Yeah.
This we have in common. And of course, we can take solace, brethren, because whether you're PC or PS4 or Switch or Xbox, we are not fucking mobile gamers.
I was just about to say, let's go!
At least we're not mobile gamers.
And Lipton, where the hell are you at? You thought we forgot.
I'm just gonna get this out of the way right now. Fuck Raid Shadow Legends.
No, YouTuber, I am not going to check out Raid Shadow Legends.
I may have just killed our best sponsorship chance with Raid Shadow Legends. Sorry, guys.
Oh no.
They're really into it. They're like, oh, I just want to sponsor them more.
No publicity is bad publicity.
Yeah, tell me I'm bad. Now go on, sell these in-game currency. Go on, sell them.
I miss Clash of Clans.
We should probably wrap this up. This is getting out of hand.
So Zara alluded to it either this episode or last episode, but it is Game T's 1 year anniversary. It is our first birthday. So we've got a special segment that we are doing next week, and we are looking forward to it. It came from our brains, and it's a good idea, something we thought of, that we definitely know what it is. We've definitely figured out what we're doing for that by now. Listen to my voice.
We got it all planned. Everything is done.
We had a drawing board party and everything.
I'm really sick of everybody accusing us of not having it ready.
We got our shit together. You can't prove otherwise.
All right. Well, I think that'll do it for this episode. So thank you all so much for joining us on another episode of the Game Tea Podcast, and we will see you in the next episode.
You just got your Game Tea.
Later.
If you like what you heard today and you're looking for more ways to get your game tea fix, check us out on Patreon. With bronze, silver, and gold tiers starting at $2 a month, there are several incredible rewards you can receive for supporting the show, such as a follow from us on Twitter, access to a monthly Q&A session, an invitation to our private Discord server, and even bonus episodes of the podcast only accessible to patrons. Your donations will be used to make the show even better. The link to Patreon is in the description with our social media, so go check it out. Once again, thank you so much for listening to the Game Tea Podcast.